Why do fearful avoidants test their partners? And it's not because they're manipulative. I'm Mandy Bonds, and I help women who lost themselves in toxic relationship regain self-trust and self-worth so they can finally find secure love. So you'd think when fearful avoidants test that they're manipulative. But it's really not manipulation. It's just for them to see if they can feel safe. And although I agree that it can be really toxic and it's really, really bad for a relationship if a fearful avoidant does that, but there's really another underlying issue behind the testing. So fearful avoidants, they might pitch a fight, they test you somehow, or they go through your phone just to see if your behaviors change. And all of that is just for them to feel safe. The healthy thing to do would obviously be to communicate if they feel unsafe, but that communication involves vulnerability. Fearful avoidants do not like to be vulnerable. They are not, sometimes they can be perceived as they are vulnerable, but they are not truly vulnerable. So that would include that they have to share their emotions, they have to share their needs, they have to share with their partner what's going on or why they feel unsafe, or maybe they fear betrayal, or they see a change in pattern. So instead of communicating, that's when they then test. And while they're testing, they observe you. So they pull back just to see if you follow, or they stop initiating to see if you care and if you start initiating, which is, as a reminder, it's the fearful avoidance attachment strategy to predict behavior, because the change in behavior measures then the emotional safety. And all of that testing and that pulling away or that pushing buttons or pitching a fight, all of that could be avoided if they were just vulnerable. So that is something a fearful avoidant definitely has to learn, to share their anxieties, to share their emotions with their partners, and to share what's really going on inside of that. Because, I mean, that can end a relationship, all that toxic testing. Healing begins when they learn that they're allowed to ask and still be loved and not be abandoned when they're vulnerable. Or they also fear that they could lose their independence if they're too vulnerable. If you would like to learn more insight about the fearful avoidance, sign up to my emails newsletter through the link in my bio.